You screwed up, you know that? My wife asked, trying to hold my hand. I looked around the room, the metal table, the bars on the window, and the people in prison guard jumpsuits watching intently. You never told me this would happen, she tells me, looking me straight in the eye. I look away, remembering the past few months, and then shrug. But here we are, and I didn't have to say anything, I answer without much emotion. I caught Bronwyn in bed with my boss 6 months earlier. Their conversation in the bedroom devastated me, but the worst part was our 6-month-old daughter sleeping down the hall. You know I did it for us, she said, something I'd heard repeatedly since that night. I know you want to believe that, Bronwyn, but you keep forgetting to look at it from my side. Can you get over yourself? Try looking at it from my point of view, I objected again, not for the first time. But you shouldn't have tried to stop us. It's your fault, my wife arrogantly told me. My wife was unhappy that in a fit of rage I had stormed into the bedroom to confront them, but she didn't realize that my boss, Kane, though old enough to be her father, was 3 times my size. I threw the first 3 punches, but within moments I was on the floor. At the hospital, I was visited by a couple of friendly policemen who took my statement, and after hearing my story, suggested I hire a lawyer. Was it worth it, Peter? Said my wife in a now contemptuous voice, snapping me out of my memories. I'd studied her. She was good-looking, and until that night I'd thought she was all mine. Of course I was wrong. What did you think? I spat back, trying to contain my anger. The guard looked in our direction but said nothing. We're sitting here, and I can't get it out of my head that the mother of my child has been nothing but a whore for over 6 months, when she should have just been my happy wife. We were supposed to be raising our child together, not sitting here. And I didn't mess anything up. You did it on your own. I did what any good father should do. When my daughter grows up, she'll know I'm not a cuckold or a cheater, I said proudly, seeing my wife cringe at those angry words. But you didn't have to do that. I mean, Peter, what's going on now? She asked with a certain amount of sadness in her voice. Look, I said, pointing to my lawyer who was sitting at another table waiting for my cue. It was a little difficult to get him on the prison visitors list, but there was a definite process and he had everything ready. Mrs. Bronwyn. I have here the divorce papers between you and your husband. The attorney spent the next few minutes going over the documents with us, explaining the division of assets and the trust that would be set up at the end of the term. By the time the attorney stood up and was led out of the visiting room, Bronwyn was sobbing. Please, Peter, this can't happen. I stood up and looked at my wife. The prison guard looked at me and I nodded with 2 thumbs up. Just a couple more minutes. Bronwyn, you knowingly slept in our bed with him, humiliated me with him, did nothing to protect me when he beat me unconscious, and let's not talk about how you tried to set me up to take the blame for the 2 of you stealing $750,000. What did you think was going to happen? But thanks to you, I smirked. I got Kane's job, I got custody of Casey, and you were right. His daughter, Tabitha, she's infatuated with me. Tabitha is coming over for dinner tonight after she found out I was divorcing your lying ass. Bronwyn couldn't take it anymore. A few minutes later, I walked out of the visiting room with a smile. I was ready for dinner and was looking forward to the grown-up dessert that Tabitha had hinted I would get from her for helping me free her mother from the crook. I smiled in anticipation, ready to be happy again.